Well, it's funny that you mentioned the word nerd because that is where our first barrel or nah comes in.
Hey, this is Chris from Florida calling for David and Chaz at the Grit with a barrel or nah. And this is something that just is astounding in my life. Adult nerds. I have been working at a country club for the past 6 months, and in every department there are adult nerds, full on comic books, Pokemon, Star Wars, anime, you name it, all totally so deep into these worlds that just it's mind blowing. Some of them with their kids, some of them not, still collecting comic books, still looking for rare Pokemon cards, but like so deep into the nerd world, like talking almost another language. I'm huge nah. This is just mind blowing to me. A huge discovery. Like, thought this was for kids. So barrel or nah, being a total devoted adult nerd. Cheers.
What
Keep up the work.
what say you?
Ooh, this is a tough one, and I do hate to go against a listener. I understand the nod, but I'm going full barrel. I'm saying go operate in your world. I want nothing to do with any of that. I don't want anything to do with Pokemon cards. I don't want anything to do with comics. I don't personally like nor care about the MCU. Is that what it's called? The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I did
The
not know that that was even a thing.
the
MCU.
MCU is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I haven't seen, I think I watched on the plane flying to Europe or home from Europe. What? Uh Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy, one of those, the two one. And I was vaguely amused by that, but that's as far as I get into that. But all you adult nerds, go have adult nerd world. Go have your conventions, which I know you do. Dress up as your characters. Do all of this because I feel that leaves me more room to do what I like to do. That adult nerd does not have time to do the things I like to do now. So I don't want him around. I don't want her around. I'm not a human hater. I love my peoples, but I just don't need them around. If that's your inclination, then have at it. Barrel,
Yeah.
adult nerd.
I'm
Keep
gonna go
doing you.
opposite. I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm going no barrel. And this is not the adult nerd is not an imposition on me, and everybody's entitled to live their own life, obviously. However, I'm going to make the argument that this does not allow them to live their best life. The There's a difference between me being obsessed with surfing versus somebody else being obsessed with Pokemon, collecting Pokemon cards. And it's not just that one is, a physical activity outdoors and one isn't. It's more that you're living in a universe that somebody else created. Like if your entire thing is stepping inside to someone else's creativity and just marveling at that, then it very much limits your own intellectual exploration, is what I would argue. So I think it's okay to delight in it for 2 hours. If you watch a movie and you get swept away for those 2 hours and caught up in it, that's fine. But then check out and go do your own world. You should live in your own world and you should be inspired by Walt Disney's creativity to then create your own universe and your own thing. And because I just feel that it's a healthier intellectual experience to live in.
I'll totally agree that the adult nerd should, if you're into Disneyland and Pokemon, if you're into like infantilized things, uh push yourself, right? Like try to take baby steps towards appreciating art or music or food or something in a more profound way. Because yeah, every adult nerd thing, all this, from the Marvel Cinematic Universe on down, all of it is really shallow, right? And I know that there's like a trillion different storylines in comics where, they wouldn't think it's shallow. What are you talking about, man? It's like Superman and blah de blah had a thing and a blah and a b and this and that and whatever. Where that's not depth though, right? That's all shallow, or it's all one thing. It's all one note. expand, play another note, see how that feels. If everybody, I mean, I feel, especially in America, we are so like rotting ourselves from the inside out with our lack of culture. There is no the and I'm not just trying to be a jerk about this, but the lack of appreciation of culture, of a good orchestra versus, I don't know, Disney tunes. Like, try to get there, or at least try to understand that this thing is very complex and the thing I like is very simple.
I think the one note is kind of where I also have the problem with it is if that's your thing that you're into and that's the only thing that you're into, then that's a problem. You need to have a little bit more diverse interests than just that one thing. And like you said, it might be somewhat shallow, or let's say the universe of Tolkien is probably not shallow. Like there's depth to it, but whatever the depth is, it hits a bottom because it was all created by one person who designed a thing to a certain specification. It's pretty deep, but it was a certain specification. You can hit all of that. Eventually, you can go as deep as you can and you will identify all that's within that realm. It's more limiting than your own imagination is. So don't live inside their imagination and what they created and that be your only thing that you're interested in life. Utilize that to explore your own creativity and then take inputs from additional cultures into different things to have a diverse, you know, creative intellectual experience.
Quick tool to live by for our a tool to live by buried in a barrel or not. This is like a whole matrix right here. Uh, but our dear caller should start like enacting little high school style punishments on the nerds, like slap their folders out of their hands when they're walking down the hall, or like bump into them, or a little bit of a wedgie every now and then, or something. Like he should, if they're going to be adult nerds, he should be adult jock.
I like it. Embrace the jock.
Yep.
Um, I was confused too. He's like, I started working for a country club 6 months ago. And then he said in the different departments of the country club. And then I started thinking it sounds like an office environment. Like I was having a hard time understanding the whole. I didn't know country clubs are that diverse where they
Complex.
have that many different yeah, there's a Star Wars nerd in a certain department and then a Pokemon nerd over there on the golf course, you know.
Yeah, it's
Um,
true. I'd like to hear more about this country club, to be honest. Call back.
it's pretty interesting. I would like to know more about country clubs in general. It's a
Me too.
fascinating little
Me
subculture.
too.
Um, the final thought on the nerd thing is if you're that into something that somebody in a different department can identify that that's what you're into, that's also a problem. I
Yeah.
would like to think that I go to the grocery store and nobody knows that I'm a surfer.
Yeah. Or people don't think you're like obsessing about it.
I mean, if I walked in wearing puka shell necklace and like zinc on my nose, that would be a problem. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They would be like, this guy, what the heck is like a
Yeah.
costume the guy's
Yeah.
wearing. That would be so if somebody in a different department can identify that you're obsessed with Pokemon cards,
You got a problem.
got a problem.
Yeah.
Time to intervene.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't think we left any meat on the bone of that one. Uh, barrel or not, leaving ski racks on the roof of your car year round.
Wow. This is a tough, I mean, oh, it's a no barrel for sure, but it's something precisely that I would do. I would like lose the tool, and then lo and behold, the bolt would be rusted, and I'd be like, well, it looks like ski racks are on forever. Like, it just is what it is.
Because this falls under the realm of me for me of like you're trying to front and show everybody else that you're a skier and it's June right now,
Okay,
but there's a
here's
little
the
bit of
thing.
work involved to get that thing off.
I do have a caveat on this. It is a barrel if they're like old rusted on ski racks. It is a no barrel if it's very clear that you are an organized person in your life, and if your garage is clean and you have ski racks on your car, then you're fronting and those things need to come off. If your garage is a disaster, that means your life is messy and you don't have time, or you lost your tool to take your ski racks off, leave them on.
Yeah. I'm going to take them off no matter what.
Even if your garage is messy, you're going to be buying new ski racks every year.
I know. I know. That is a problem, but you need to do better. You
You
need to
got
clean that garage. You need to keep track of things.
There's a lot of things you need to do better, but you just ski racks on the car is way down that list.
I tried to buy a few months back a roof rack or like the box that you put on like a
Like a
Yakima or a
Yakima?
Thule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I like how everybody knows the brand names of all those. Like, I've never owned one. I could name the brand Yakima just right to mind, like front and center. I've never
Yeah.
even gone on their web. I've never shopped for one, never thought about one, just seen enough.
It gets seared into your brain because you see them on the freeway all the
Yeah.
time. Um, I did not buy one because it was insanely expensive
Yeah, they're like 1,500 bucks or something more.
just for the box itself.
Yeah, and then you got to get the mounting.
Yeah. So I was driving home, I think maybe from recording a podcast or something, and I was like, we had a road trip coming up on that weekend. And I was doing the math in my head of how to fit everything in the back of my car, and it's going to be tight. And I was like, I could just get one of those boxes on the top of my car, and then that'll eliminate all my problems, right?
Yeah, problem
So I go
solved.
on REI's website just to make sure that they have the product at the store that's on my drive home because I could just pull off the freeway, pick it up right there, and the problem will be solved. And sure enough, they had the part. And so I'm like, sweet. So I pull in there, and I think the box for the extra large one was like 1,200 bucks,
Yeah,
which is crazy expensive, first of all. And because it's just a box. I mean,
yeah.
it's made out of like whatever the material is, but it's way too expensive for what it is. But I was going to suck it up and go for it. Then he goes, okay, well, do you have the bar that goes across that this thing sits on? And I'm like, no. He's like, okay, well, you need two of those. So they're 300 bucks each. So that's another 600 bucks. So now I'm doing the math and I'm like, God, do I actually want to do this? And he goes, do you have the mounting mechanism that goes from your car to the bar? I'm like, no. Okay, well, you need four of those. And so then it's another 500 bucks. And then there was an additional part for that too. It was literally like what you
3 grand.
thought, yeah, 3 grand. It was like what you thought was going to be 1,200 bucks, now 3 grand. And by the way, we don't have all the parts in the store because each car has a different kind of roof mounting. So you got to go to that store to get this one, or we can mail it and it'll be there in a week. I was just like, you lost me at 3 grand. Like,
That is
there's no way I'm doing this.
some of those things though are so great. Sometimes I feel those interactions where you have an idea of something you want to do, uh, and it goes and it's like those ones where you're in the store struggling over, man, do I really want to spend that? And it's just outside your limit, but it's still too much. But it's just outside your maximum limit, but close enough where you're struggling with it. Those ones are torture. When it jumps so far
I
into
know.
laughably absurd and you feel good spinning on heel and stomping out of the store, those ones are blessings.
Totally. Completely agree. And I'm still indignant about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys, number one, I felt like it was a bait and switch. I feel like you lured me in here with this price, and now it's more than double what I thought it was going to be. I will never buy this product for the rest of my life now.
Does it make you think differently about driving down the 5 freeway, the 405, and seeing the boxes now? Do you think, you wealthy son of a gun, you
Yeah, I do
rich,
actually. I'm like that
rich?
secret millionaire
Oh man, you should have one of those Venmo. I just got married Venmo things that you throw up real quick when you pass those guys.
trying to buy a Yakima.
Venmo.
Okay. All right. Final barrel or not. Adult males dyeing their hair.
Ooh, I'm a big no barrel on this one. David Lee Scales. It's a no barrel. Adult male. I think this falls in the category of any maintenance for an adult male other than shaving, clipping your fingernails, uh, taking care of unsightly, whatever, nose hair, ear hair kind of things. Like, you don't ever want to be gross. Anything outside of the realm of just keeping you not gross is too much.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, I think this all falls under the realm of something you said a long time ago, which is you want to be not noticed.
Yes,
So if you have an unsightly hair growing out of your nose, obviously
it's
that's going to be
noticed.
noticed.
Yeah.
Or if you dye your hair, and it could be own experience blue hair, that's bad. Well, like a punk rock look, that's bad. But if it's just jet black to get rid of the gray, that also becomes super noticeable. So
Yep.
you want to walk the fine line of being right in the middle, let the wife be the superstar and fade into the background.
And if you are dyeing your hair and it's unnoticeable, uh, then you're spending too much time and money thinking about that, right? Like if you go to the salon and they have blended it so ideally, right? Like nobody thinks you dye your hair because it is just perfection. Uh, you're wasting time, man. Like that was whatever that for people not to notice you at that point,
Right.
they're also not going to notice you gray. So
Yeah.
just keep your time. Go spend that
Waste
time collecting Pokemon cards.
wasting time and money. That
Yeah,
money could have gone towards a Yakima roof rack.
it could have.
So yeah, don't adult males quit it.
Yeah,
You're embarrassing me.
completely.